My brothers and sisters, what's going on? Steel Sermon in the house. Sunday evening. Currently recording this at halftime between the Bears and Packers. And still repping my Big Ben jersey from earlier today. Because, quite honestly, I sure would love to have prime Big Ben with this defense right now. But alas, the Big Ben era is over. But yeah, do me a favor. Like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Instagram and on Twitter. Links are posted in the description box below to my Instagram and Twitter. Going to talk about a little bit of an observation that I've had for the past 2 weeks now. Okay? And I really actually wanted to make this video last week. But I kind of figured, you know what, it's week one. Everyone overreacts towards week one. So let's just let it sit for a bit and see how week two goes. But now I'm starting to see the same thing. And it was especially apparent today in today's game. Second quarter, third quarter, it was one of those two quarters. I think it was the third, though. The crowd at Acrisure Stadium, I'm still trying to get used to that. But the crowd in Pittsburgh today was chanting, Kenny, Kenny, Kenny. Listen, I'm here to say, hold off on that. And I'll tell you why. Because as frustrated as I am that Mitch Trubisky played very poorly today, and yes, Matt Canada's offense looked awful again, but I'm not putting it all on Canada because I still maintain and stand by my statement that Mitch Trubisky put us in a deficit early on with his interception. He should have had another one, not running, taking unnecessary sacks, not throwing the ball out of bounds. He lost us this game today, and it's, in my opinion, mostly on him. Canada's a close second. Okay, because his offensive play calling is the same as it was for the past 4 years. All right, or 3 years, however long it's been. But anyway, my point of this video is this: do you really want to run the risk of throwing Kenny Pickett into the fire and run the risk of ruining him? Because that's not what I want. There's a reason that we took Kenny Pickett 20th overall this past spring. It's because we are confident that he is going to be the long-term answer for us in the short future. However, this year is not it. You're coming off a winter where you lost Big Ben to retirement, which we all knew was going to happen, okay? He was 39 years old. He was cooked, his skills were done, and really he was coming back just so he could make the money that he was due to honor his contract. Not a lot of quarterbacks are going to say no to that. So that's really the only reason Ben came back. But we're coming off a winter where we lost our franchise quarterback the past 18 years, a guy who's going to be in Canton in 5 years in the Hall of Fame. In my opinion, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. Okay? We now have to bridge the gap between recovering from that and building for the future for what we have in Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett is a very talented quarterback. I don't think anyone's denying that. Everyone likes to make fun of his hand size or whatever. But, the thing is, if the guy can play, the guy can play. And I hate to use this as an example, but we've seen it in preseason. I know preseason isn't the best example to give to it, but we saw how he was able to read defenses. We saw his decision making. We saw how he was able to, find his favorite targets. And he was even able to use his legs a little bit and get out of a sticky situation. And he has a nice deep ball pass as well. I think Kenny Pickett has what it takes to be a starter in this league. However, this season is not the season for him to be a starter, because you have to have him learn the playbook, because when he steps onto the field for the first time, he's going to be going up against regular starters on defense, okay? I'm not diminishing what he did in preseason. Please understand that. But when he steps on the field, he's going to be going up against regular starters on defense. Which is why you bring in a veteran quarterback, a guy who's a journeyman, to bridge the gap between recovering from Big Ben's retirement to having Kenny Pickett be your starter long term. We all know that Mitch Trubisky's not going to be the long-term answer. We all know Mitch Trubisky's not going to be the quarterback here for the next decade. We all know that. So I'm saying, lay off on it. Let Mitch go out there and play, hopefully play well, because regardless of what Mitch Trubisky is, I'm still going to come on here and tell it like it is with him. And today, and last week he didn't play very well, and in my opinion today he played even worse. But I'm telling you, be patient. Mitch is not going to be here long term. And Kenny Pickett is going to be the answer eventually. I don't anticipate it to be this year, though. And look, if you absolutely have to throw in Kenny Pickett at some point this season, I would do one of two things. Number one, start him late in the season. Like, say in a meaningless game or something, or I don't know, maybe the last game of the year when we play the Browns in Pittsburgh. Maybe start him there, see what you have in him. Or, because at that point we'll have either clinched a playoff spot or we'll be out of the playoffs. One of those two things. Because this team is, half rebuilding and half competing this year, let's be honest. Or, if you want to start him early, which I don't agree with, but I understand it a little bit, start him week 4. And why week 4? Well, because like I've said a million times already today, Thursday night, we're driving 2 hours from Pittsburgh to Cleveland. All right? You don't throw in a rookie quarterback, no matter how talented he is, no matter how better he is than your bridge guy. You don't throw a talented quarterback in a short week like that for him to learn the playbook on short notice. Unless it's a Big Ben situation. Because that's what we did with Big Ben, all right? Big Ben wasn't the starter right away. Bill Cowher, okay, shout out to the Steel Twins for mentioning this. Bill Cowher on NFL on CBS, he's even said a couple of times that he never anticipated for Big Ben to be the full-time starter in 2004 in his rookie year. He anticipated Big Ben to be the starter for 2005. But Tommy Maddox got hurt against Baltimore in Week 2 in 2004, and, well, the rest is history. But my point is, it's very rare for a situation like that to happen. Quarterbacks take time to develop. Players in general take time to develop. Do you think Tom Brady was thrown in the mix right away with the Patriots in his rookie year in 2000? No. They were going with Drew Bledsoe to bridge the gap. 2001, Bledsoe gets injured. Brady takes in. Rest is history. He becomes the greatest quarterback to ever play. Obviously, no one could have predicted that, but that's just how it went. Patrick Mahomes. He wasn't the starter right away. Alex Smith was. And then Kansas City, they gave him away to Washington, I believe, offseason 2018, because they're like, hey, you know what? Mahomes is our guy. And Mahomes right now, best quarterback in the league. Josh Allen. It took him a year to become the starter for Buffalo. They were rolling with freaking Nathan Peterman of all guys. We all know what a joke that he was. Tyrod Taylor, I believe, in 2018. And then Buffalo said, you know what? 2019 is going to be the year that Josh Allen's going to be our starter. Josh Allen's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Aaron Rodgers even. 49ers passed on him in 2005. He fell into Green Bay's lap. They still had Brett Favre. Twilight of his career. They're like, you know what? Let's have Brett Favre finish up his career. We'll get Aaron Rodgers in there. He's learned from one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play. My point is, you don't throw a rookie quarterback into the fire right away. And it's an unpopular decision for Mike Tomlin to be doing this, but it's the right decision. Let Mitch go out there. Let him play. Let him bridge this gap. If we have to sacrifice this year so we can be competitive next year, and if we're confident Kenny Pickett's the guy for next year and forward, then we have no choice but to go with the flow. And if you want to start him at some point this season, it either has to be week 4 or late in the season. That's my opinion. But just calm down, be patient. Kenny Pickett will be the guy eventually. It's just not right now. All right? And that's really all I got to say. Just wanted to make a response for some people in the chat that were saying, you know what, Kenny Pickett needs to come in. We're not going to put him in because we don't know if Kenny Pickett could have led us to a game-winning drive. We all know Belichick's track record against rookie quarterbacks. And I especially wouldn't start him Thursday night unless Mitch Trubisky gets hurt. I especially wouldn't start him Thursday night. Maybe week 4 because the Jets are one of our weaker opponents. But, hey, who knows? The Jets, speaking of the Jets and Browns, the Jets beat Cleveland today. I especially wouldn't start him against Buffalo in week 5. Because the Bills are the best team in the league, in my opinion. Okay? Be patient. Pickett is going to get his chance. He's going to be the answer long term. I don't anticipate it to be this year, though. But I'm telling you, be patient. You can be frustrated at Mitch Trubisky. You can call Mitch Trubisky trash. You can say that he played 2 really bad games so far. And I agree with you. I think he has played 2 very poor games so far this early into the season. But you got to remember, it's now 17 games in the season. We got 15 more games to go. Who's to say Mitch turns it around and he has, a decent year? Not a great year, but nothing terrible. Who's to say that happens? And then, that happens. It's a good problem to have because now we have a guy who proves that he can win games for us. And we have the guy that we're confident to be our long-term answer at starting quarterback sitting behind him. So it's win-win for us if you really think about it. Having Mitch Trubisky here, the ultimate point of this, it's low risk, high reward. Okay? The very worst that can happen with Mitch Trubisky is that he just proves that it wasn't all Matt Nagy's fault in Chicago and that Mitch Trubisky is just, a journeyman at best. But at the best, he just shows that he can win games, he can be competitive, he can put up good games, and he can keep our heads above water long enough for us so that way this rebuild isn't as painful. Okay, so when you think about it, it's low risk, high reward. We don't anticipate Mitch to be the starter for the next decade, like I said earlier. He's just here for 2 years. And then when it's up, it's Kenny Pickett time. Okay? So cool it with the Kenny chance. I want to see Kenny Pickett play too, but not right now. He needs to study. He needs to learn. So that way he don't look clueless. And if we even threw him in the game today, I don't think it would have made much of a difference because I still think with Matt Canada's play calling, he still would have had Kenny Pickett throw the checkdowns. He still would have had the dinks and dunks. We still would have went with the 3-yard out patterns and not used Najee the way that we're supposed to or Jalen Warren the way that we're supposed to. I still think it would have been the same stale offense that it's been. But be patient. Kenny Pickett will get his chance eventually. But you have every right to be upset and frustrated about Mitch. I am one of those guys. And yes, I hold him responsible for today's loss. And that's really all I got to say. So, that said, my preview video up for the Browns will be either Monday or Tuesday. My picks will be up Wednesday as always. And, just can't wait for this short week to be over with so that way I can get a chance to relax. But, that'll do it for this video. Just wanted to make a response. Like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Links are posted down below. Steel Sermon, check it on out for the night. May God be with you all.